Radio Nottingham.
Now then, promised you a man who is going to be walking 3,500 miles in less than 100 days. That's the target. His name is John Beebe. Afternoon, Job.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you, more to the point?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
What's the thought behind this then? It's a charity walk, isn't it?
It's a charity walk to try and raise £100,000 for a rugby charity called Tag Rugby Trust. My kind of history in sport is just, I found rugby, I started playing rugby at Nottingham High School when I was about 10 or 11. And yeah, it really kind of developed my personality, changed my kind of direction of life. And it's kind of now, I found this charity about 6-7 months ago, and I really feel that it can develop other kind of children's lives in third world countries and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so it's sort of looking outside of the UK. What kind of area are you thinking in particular with the charity?
Tag Rugby Trust aim at places like Uganda, India and things like that. The reason we're raising the £100,000 is to take underprivileged kids from both New York and London, to take them on tours out to these third world countries, which Tag Rugby Trust haven't actually done as far, So we're looking to kind of develop it and create these specialised tours.
Right. Now, to do charity work and do bits of volunteering and do the odd thing is one thing, but to undertake, 3,500 miles, that's a long old walk, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It actually came as I was kind of inspired by Mark Beaumont, who was the guy that smashed the world record for cycling around the world, and has recently done BBC documentaries doing cycling in the Americas. And I went to university with Mark, and when he just finished the cycling thing, we were talking about stuff, and it came about that I knew I'd never run a marathon or anything like that, so it was more about an endurance event that wasn't as kind of high exertion in a short term, but more how long I could do it. And I've always kind of been renowned for just persistence, really.
Once you've got an idea in your head, that's it. You go for it, basically. Yeah. Mm. I mean, what kind of preparation do you have to do for that? Because that's not just a hike for 4 or 5 days. I mean, the target is to do this in less than 100 days. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's every day. I haven't done the maths on this.
No, it's usually, it should be about 6 days a week for and 1 day off. But my aim is to try and do bulks of walking, so that, because obviously, as anyone that does sport will know that the day after, it's pretty difficult. The 2 days after, it's really difficult to get going again. So what I'm trying to do is do bulk walking and then take maybe 3 or 4 days off, rest, recuperate, and then do another sort of bulk walk as well. And
what kind of terrain are you sort of preparing for? Is it sort of off-road, so to speak, hiking, or what is it?
No, that will be all road-based.
Right.
Doing, I think, 40 miles, any hiking off-road would be pretty extreme. So, it's all going to be road. We've chosen the route from New York up to Chicago, and then Chicago, Route 66, down through kind of Arizona, Amarillo. So we chose a kind of desert route rather than the northern route, which is through the Rockies.
Yeah.
So more kind of flat terrain, but just constant desert and heat for the second half of it.
You see, you mentioned about it being on road, but I'm not sure how. I can see how, obviously, you're talking about the undulation and everything. It was relatively flat on the road. Mm-hmm. But equally, it's hard, isn't it? So that's hard going for your feet, hard going for your legs and knees.
The preparation that I've gone through has been kind of doing 10 miles a day, first thing in the morning. So up at kind of 5:30, getting out there and just walking, trying to really get the miles through my legs. I've got 2 separate personal trainers in London, both specialising on different things, and both of them at the same time said, you need to work on your flexibility, because the impact that you're going through and the persistent kind of walking that you're going through on tarmac or concrete, it's going to, your flexibility, is far more important, because the whole thing about the walking the miles is that it's far more of a mental game than it is, physical exertion. It's not like running a marathon where you have to be super physically fit to really kind of keep going. It's just that the mindset of doing it and making sure that all your muscles know that that's what what you're going to be putting yourself through for the next 3.5 months.
Okay. Well, look, we will talk more about your preparations and more about the route itself and the kind of support that you've been having recently, because I have it on good authority that one or two famous people have given you a bit of support. So find out who those people are in just a few moments' time. More from John Beebe just ahead on BBC Radio Nottingham. We'll check your headlines at 3:30 after Captain and to Neil. So, John Beebe is with me now. You actually went to Nottingham High School,
yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, up until the age of 13, I think.
Okay. So, you obviously have a connection with Nottingham. Have you got family here? Have you got friends still here?
When I was born in Birmingham, my mum's from Edinburgh. My dad's actually local, was born out in Carcolston, just on the other side of Bingham.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, they moved back here when I think I was 2. And so all my young life I grew up in Nottingham, up in the park, and then I was here at school till I was 13, then went down to Oundle boarding school for the rest of my school career. And my mum lives just outside Nottingham in Grantham, just between Nottingham and Grantham, basically.
Got you. And obviously you're back here in Nottinghamshire today. I mean, how are you going about trying to get your sponsorship then? Because I mean, the target is 100 grand to raise for the Tag Rugby Trust, and basically, just to recap on what John's going to be doing, 3,500 miles across America, walking that in less than 100 days. So, I mean, it's a huge undertaking, but I mean, it's also a big undertaking to try and get that amount of sponsorship in, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's the funding for the walk as well, which is another 22,000 on the top of that. So the funding for the walk isn't, the 100,000 is purely for the charity, which goes into Tag Rugby Trust, which is 100% efficient. No one's paid; it's all voluntary work that goes into the trust. So the aim was not to try and raise 100,000 and give 22% or charge 22% for the walk. So we looked at adding another 22,000 on the side, which would be raised through corporate sponsorship, which we've been doing over the last 2-3 months, and we're nearly there. Still talking to some big companies to try and get the last amount in, but there have been numerous people that have given personal money to funding the walk, in the realisation that they'll give the opportunity to raise the extra amount of money for the children in the end. So without the money for the walk, we can't do the fundraising for the rest of it.
And this is the thing that I think sometimes people forget or overlook. You do these big charity events and the organised ones, there's someone to sort out the accommodation, the transport, the food and everything else. So, I mean, how's that work? Have you had to do all that yourself?
Yeah, pretty much, with a lot of help from close friends and stuff like that. There is no organisation that do walks across America. There are certain different races, there are cycle races and runs and things like that, but what I'm doing was completely off my own back. So it was organising the route, organising the accommodation, which we've got in an RV, sorting out a film crew to make the documentary at the end of it, which has been a rocky road, trying to get anyone to take 3 months off their career to come and support you. And we're trying to just do it with one crew rather than doing it in legs, which is what I initially did, but the prices of flights going out to America is fairly expensive, so we needed to try and trim off all the fat and make sure that everything we were doing was effective as possible. So we weren't, going out there and spending 45,000 on a trip that would have been raising 100,000. Do you know what I mean? So we had to make it appealing to all of our sponsors that we were doing it for as cheaply as we could, whilst making it safe, obviously, but doing it as cheaply as we could, so then we could raise more money and use more big sponsors to pay for money going to the actual fundraising.
And what's the idea with the documentary then? Will that be something that you can keep and then pitch to someone?
Yeah, the idea, what I initially wanted to do was do a documentary about walking across America, and as I worked more and more with the charity and other charity events that I've done, I was really keen to kind of try and show people what how charities work and what you have to go through to really get the money to them as well. So the process of this would be kind of a 3-part documentary. One is about the walk and raising the money and the development of me. Then there's one about the selection of all the kids going on the Tag Rugby Trust tours. Then what they're like when they're actually out in Africa or India or wherever we choose the final destination to be. And kind of like a follow-up afterwards of how it affected them, and really being very open about where we're spending money and where the money's going to, because a lot of times you give money to charities and you give because it's an amazing cause, but you really have no idea exactly what your money goes to or what percentage of your money goes anywhere. So. Yeah.
Now, just to quickly touch on something else that you do, keeping the rugby connection going, don't you coach a women's rugby team, is that right?
Yes, an unbeaten rugby team in South East London.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's the best season I believe they've ever had. So we're, it was a new coaching squad that came in. I was asked to do it after passing all my coaching badges end of last season, and they asked me to stay on as a forwards coach. Right. And we're doing incredibly well. We've got the big game this weekend, this Sunday coming. And it's Beckenham ladies playing New Ash Green, so down in South East London. So
how does that sort of work out in terms of dynamics then? Because it's a women's team, and there you are as a bloke coaching. Is it just blokes coaching, or is it a bit of both?
Yes, we've got four guys coaching. There's myself, a guy called Phil Davis who works for the RFU community coaching body. Clev. I've forgotten his full name. Clev, who plays for Blackheath Rugby Club, and Michael Field, who is a personal fitness coach. And we kind of all came together quite randomly, actually, and we've all just become incredibly good friends. And I think one thing that we've always tried to do is not treat them as ladies playing rugby. We try and teach them or coach them as a rugby team. So we don't, we try not to kind of hold back anything with them and try and teach them the same thing that we try and teach a first 15 or something like that. But yeah, it's my first ever kind of coaching job, so it's been good fun, but a learning curve as well. I think coaching women, what most people would deem a men's sport, is quite a difficult thing, and I think you have some set kind of perceptions of what they'll be like and things like that prior to coaching them, and they usually kind of shatter your expectations and go a lot further than you think they will. So they're a determined young bunch of girls. So. Yeah.
Well, good luck for the big game this coming weekend on that, and we wish you the best of luck with all the fundraising and for the walk itself. Just so you know, by the way, we'll pop John's details on our Facebook page if you want to get in touch and maybe help out with the sponsorship and whatever else. I know that you have had some support from quite a few famous faces, Johnny Wilkinson, Dara O'Brien and Jason Manford, to name but three. Is that right?
Yeah, they've actually, people have been really, really helpful. I mean, through the job that I finished last Thursday, I was a corporate events manager. We did a lot of award shows, so I met Jason Manford and Dara O'Brien while I was working on those jobs, and they just asking them to really kind of back it and just doing kind of videos for us for the website. And Johnny Wilkinson, I've got Dave Walder, who plays for London Wasps. I know him through another charity event that I organised, and I got talking to him. He put me in touch with Ricky Flutie, who's on the England squad, and Ricky Flutie got in touch with Johnny Wilkinson, and one day I got an email through just saying, Johnny sent you this message, and pretty much jumped out my seat. I was so excited.
Fantastic.
So it's really good when you know that there are people out there that someone like Johnny Wilkinson, who to me is a complete my sports hero basically, and having him kind of back it and be quite surprised at a challenge that you're assessing yourself is it's a really kind of nice feeling to have people backing you in numerous different areas. So we're still looking for numerous different faces to give us good luck messages and things like that as I travel across America.
That's a pretty good list already, so well done on that. Good luck for the walk, John.
Thank you very much.
Really good to see you. And like I say, all the details for the big walk, 3,500 miles across America in less than 100 days, are on our website and our Facebook page as well, linked through to John's site from there. 18 minutes to 4. This is New by Rumour.